Sin. Yeah. Check it. Yeah. Look. Heavyweight, this the heavyweight. Heavyweight, this the heavyweight. Heavyweight, this the heavy. Yo, what up, YouTube? Welcome to Sinn-Take, man. My name is Jason, coming back with another one, man. And I got a quick message for y'all. Listen, man. I know people, right, that have sex addictions, okay? And they can't get anything right in life. You know what I mean? They can't get nothing right. You know what I mean? They addiction is all they know. You know, they need to have women. Is all they live for, man. That's all they live for. They live to chase women. You know, they live for sex and they live to chase women. And they can't focus on anything else in their life. You know, they never focused on anything. They never focused on their children. They never focused on themselves. Like, they focused on themselves because, listen, whenever you giving into addiction, that puts you on a level of selfishness because you're only thinking about yourself. You know, your addiction is you. So you thinking about yourself. You thinking about your need. You thinking about your need to, to get high. You thinking about your need to bust a nut. You know, you thinking about your needs of, all because you want to feel a certain type of way. You want to feel good. You are addicted. You know, you need to do these things. So that's going to put you on the level of selfishness. But, like I'm saying with the whole sex addiction thing, you're not thinking about anything else. You are selfish. You're going to push your kids to the side. You're not going to work on yourself. You know what I mean? You're not going to work on yourself and try to become the best version of yourself. You only thinking about yourself in the lines of busting a nut and being with multiple women. Women and women and women. That's why you doing everything. Everything about you is for women. You want to dress a certain type of way to catch women. You on all these websites to catch women. You spending all this money to get women. Everything about you is just about that. Everything about you is about that. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen this shit. And it really do ruin lives. It take over people's lives. It ain't just as simple as a lot of people look at it. People know that they're not looking deep enough into it. They're not seeing how it's ruining lives. They're not seeing, and you just thinking about it from a first person standpoint about their own lives that they ruining. No, they out here creating a trail, just a whole disaster behind them of kids. You know what I mean? The kids that they leaving behind. You know what I mean? The baby mamas that they leaving behind to fend for themselves. All of that shit. It plays a role, and at the end of the day, somebody gonna have to pay for that. You get what I'm saying? Somebody gonna have to pay for that disaster that was left, that trail of fucking just chaos, that trail of carnage. Somebody's gonna have to pay for that. And unfortunately, those kids who didn't ask to be here, they paying the price. You know what I mean? The women that was bamboozled and chose to lay up with these people with sex addictions, they had to pay the price. You know what I mean? A lot of this shit is going on in marriages, all types of shit. You know what I mean? You got motherfuckers out here that then they donating and giving their whole life for this shit, for their sex addiction that they have. So you gotta look into it and understand that this shit is more serious than you think. It's more serious than you think. And the reason why I wanted to share this message with y'all is because if you don't conquer that issue, I'm not saying that y'all have sex addictions, but you know what? That can occur. You know what I mean? That's not something, it's not always a situation that you just born with, like some people say, or a situation where something happened to you as a youngster and then, you become this. A lot of people become addicted to sex just down the line for whatever the reason. You know what I mean? It's people with status. I done did a video on that. People with money, you know what I mean, that then became successful and developed a sex addiction because the caliber of women that's all around them, the women that's throwing themselves at them. And then over time, they developed a sex addiction. They needed these women. They needed to bang and fuck these women all the time. And then it became a full-blown addiction. They needed to have this. So what I'm saying to y'all is, listen, you have to conquer an addiction like that, just like you would have to conquer any addiction. But when it comes to sex, listen, a lot of people don't look at that as a problem. You know what I mean? They don't look at that as a problem, even though they done left a whole big fucking script all their life. For ones that's been having this situation all their life, they done left carnage all behind them. And the thing is, right, if you don't ever deal with that shit, listen, you will never be able to accomplish anything until you get that shit under control. Until you get that shit under control, listen, you're gonna have situations always. You know, it's just one of those things when it comes to sex, because people don't look at it as something that you're doing wrong. You just doing something that, that you thought was just natural. You know what I mean? It's natural to bang women. And I understand, listen, to a certain extent, if you have control, right, it's okay to get your Derek Jeter on. Derek Jeter was one of the biggest players out there. He made sure his bases was covered. He was out there just having fun. And he would send these models off and these actresses off and all of these beautiful women off with a basket. You know what I mean? A gift basket for him. You know what I mean? He that motherfucker was player. But he still stayed in control. It's okay to be player, but still staying in control of yourself. You still have control. It's okay with that. That motherfucker was just on some motherfucking, motherfucking 50 Shades of Grey type shit. And you ain't never heard anything bad about him. You never heard any women say he ever did anything malicious to them. No sexual harassment shits, none of that. And he was banging all types of women. Derek Jeter listen, if you're going to be like that, you need to be like that, but still have control. It's a lot of people that don't have control. So it takes over their whole life. It takes over their whole life. And until you can conquer that shit, listen, you won't be able to excel in anything. And there's people that have all of these dreams. They want to go all of these places, but they never conquered their sexuality. They never was able to conquer their addictions. They can't conquer their sex addiction. So guess what? It's people out there with charges against them because they couldn't conquer that shit. There's people out there with tons of kids that they never took care of because they can't conquer that shit. There's people out there that been in multiple marriages that more than likely they ruined because they couldn't conquer that shit. There's people out there in debt, you know what I mean, because they couldn't conquer their sex addiction. There's people out there in the ground. They dead, yeah, because they couldn't conquer their sex addiction. Died from AIDS and shit like that because they couldn't conquer that shit. So I want y'all to understand the seriousness of this. You know what I mean? There's really people out there suffering. You don't look at it that way, but these motherfuckers is people out there really going through it because they never chose to face their problems. They never chose to face their sex addiction. They never chose to, you know what I mean, face their porn addictions and shit like that. And all it did was just grow. And yeah, your porn addiction can lead to sex addiction for those who ask, those who who question that. You question that? Yeah, it could lead to that. It could lead to that because you watching this shit on screen and all of that shit and you fapping. Guess what? When the real thing be happening, you are going to go crazy. Especially if you become a person of status. You know what I mean? So guess what? You get some status, you get money. Guess what you're going to be chasing? You're going to be chasing bitches. You're going to be chasing these porn stars that you didn't watch on this screen. You know what I mean? And you're going to want exactly the shit that you saw. You're going to want to experience exactly those things that you was addicted to. And yeah, because you never handled that. You never handled that. So your porn addiction, yeah, will transform into a full-blown sex addiction. And guess what? You're going to have more problems on your hands. You're going to have more problems on your hands. So you have to take control of this shit. You have to get control over it. People who never conquered that shit, listen, they left a trail of chaos. You know what I mean? And now they can't do nothing. They can't focus on anything without it being connected to women. You get what I'm saying? They can't focus on anything. The kids, they get kicked to the side. You know what I mean? They health, that get kicked to the side. They family, that get kicked to the side. Everything get kicked to the side because they always gonna put that pussy first. They're gonna put these women first. They gonna listen, it will even get to the point, right, to where they sex addiction is so bad, right? They will be linking with the wrong women, the wrong people. They would even, just to get what they after, they will be meeting with a lot of women that ain't right, that be on drugs. You know what I mean? They will go to that extent just because they chasing that, because they chasing the women. Guess what? A lot of these women, they shit fucked up too. So guess what? If they addicted to drugs, guess what that gonna lead you into? Yeah, you're right. Drugs as well. You're gonna be doing what they doing. All it takes for them is to tempt you into doing that, telling you that, oh, if you do this, you take this, it's gonna make you this way and that way. And guess what? Now you addicted to drugs on top of that. I've seen it. It happens a lot. Y'all need to understand the connection between drugs and sex. All of it. It's connected. With my problem, listen, it was fapping and cocaine. Fapping and alcohol. So you got to understand, it gets deeper. It's people that do other drugs that's connected to that. Alcohol and shit, yeah, that leads to other drugs and more shit. And then you connect it with sex. And listen, it goes hand in hand. Yeah, it don't matter what you think about. Weed, that's connected. Cocaine, connected. Crack cocaine, connected. Heroin, connected. All of that shit is done while having sex in a lot of situations. You know what I mean? I even watch, like, if y'all ever watch Drugs Inc., right? Look up the episode where they in Silicon Valley with the porn stars. You know, a lot of those porn stars, they was addicted to drugs. They was smoking meth right on. Yeah, look up that Drugs Inc. episode in Silicon Valley. That's in California. Look up that episode and you will see what I'm talking about. But it's all connected. So y'all need to take this shit serious because that shit all go together. All those porn stars, they was on drugs. They was smoking meth. They was snorting cocaine. They was doing all of it. So check out that Drugs Inc. episode, Silicon Valley. You know what I mean? And y'all gonna see what I'm talking about. But you need to conquer this shit. The work you putting in now is necessary. All right? And that's my word. My name JC and it's Sinn-Take. I'll holler at y'all later, man. Peace. First, I'ma get on my grind. Then second, stop wasting my time on shit less important. If ain't about money, I'm going the other direction. And third, I'ma do what I gotta to eat. Fourth, I'ma sew up the streets. Fifth, I'ma never quit dropping this heat. So as long as I'm breathing, you better get used to me. Sixth, I'ma get